Hi everybody, it's Emily with Metro East. It is our weekly Instagram Live and I just wanted to pop on and talk to you about some of the questions I've been getting a lot lately. I don't know about you, but most people I work with, and this includes myself, have a sugar addiction, and it's not a character flaw, it's actually our biology. We are wired to want sugar. Back in the day, thousands of years ago, we only got sugar a couple of ways, and it was pretty few and far between and hard to get to. So we have fruit at the height of the growing season in the summer, and then we might come across some honey if we want to, go after a bee's hive. And otherwise, there wasn't a lot of sugar getting into our diets. So one fact I like to share with our patients when we do our blood sugar session is that we as Americans eat about 152 pounds of sugar per year, and that doesn't even include natural sugars or refined carbohydrates. And just 200 years ago, we were only eating 2 pounds. So that is an insane increase of sugar for our biology to have to adapt to in a very short amount of time. And you can see that we're not doing a very good job. Diabetes is on the rise. It's such a serious problem. They're now linking chronic illness, inflammation, gut dysbiosis to overconsumption of sugar is mainly a culprit for a lot of these chronic conditions. And we work with that a lot here in the clinic because most people coming in to see us are dealing with autoimmune disease, just general gut upset, sleep disorders, anxiety, depression. Not that we dive into the diagnostics, but it's very simple that getting sugar out of your diet is going to make all of those things better because we are a system, and holistically, if we treat the whole body by reducing inflammation, we will feel better. So I like to share a few things with my patients on our blood sugar packet about how to curb blood sugar spikes without changing what we eat. And while I want you to change what you eat by taking more sugar out of your diet and less fruit, more non-starchy vegetables, more protein, more healthy fats, there are some things we can do with our behavior around how we eat sugar or carbohydrates that can blunt the spike a little bit. So these are tools to add in when you might have a heavier carb day, but generally, hopefully, you're having more of a whole foods balanced diet. So my first tip is to drink apple cider vinegar. I'm sure you have heard there's a lot of benefits to this, but actually putting a tablespoon in 4 to 8 ounces of water and drinking that before you eat works in a way that it helps slow down the rate at which your stomach empties the food you have eaten into the small intestine. And this allows your body to break down the carbohydrates slower and give your body more time to remove the glucose from the blood. So it's just a way to slow things down, and it also kind of revs up your digestion because you get a little more acid in your belly before you're eating the food. The second tip is minding the order in which you eat your foods. I don't know about you, but if I get a salad or a plate of many different foods, I want a little bit of everything on each bite. And so maybe that's something I need to work on for sure. But what you can do is you can eat your non-starchy vegetables first, then your protein and fats, and then have your carbohydrates and sweets after that. So the whole point, just like the vinegar, is to slow down the glucose release into your system and if you imagine the fiber and the protein, it takes longer to digest than sugar does. Sugar is a really quick burner. So if we can put the slower things in front of it to kind of just slow that release, you're going to have a better outcome. So with that, it's really good, especially with dessert, having dessert after a meal, or if you have a sweet maybe in the middle of the day, make sure you're having a source of protein and fat with it to blunt that spike, and having it before you do that. So say you're at Starbucks, you want to get a Frappuccino, which I don't recommend, but maybe you're doing that. If you were able to eat like a handful of nuts and some baby carrots before you have that, you'll kind of blunt that blood sugar spike. Something I was doing for a long time, I didn't want to eat dessert after dinner because it would keep me up at night, having the sugar so late. So I started having snacks or dessert when I got home, not realizing I'm having a dessert, all this sugar on an empty stomach, and now I'm spiking my blood sugar, which is going to cause me to have a roller coaster of cravings, and I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night with hot flashes and drop really low in the middle of the night, and it affects my sleep. So have dessert after a meal or with fat and protein. Going for a walk after your meal can also really help you reduce the blood sugar spike. Your muscles use glucose for energy, so if you don't just sit there and allow your body to absorb that energy, you actually use it, it'll burn through the glucose instead of storing it. Another huge tenet of what the work we do here is not eating your naked carbs. So we like to call it CPF, carbs, protein, fat. So just like I mentioned in the order of which we eat our foods, just making sure that every meal and snack is balanced with a healthy carb, a protein, and a fat is going to allow you to have more energy, avoid the hangry moments, avoid blood sugar spikes and drops, and just keep you like way more even keel, especially like emotionally. It really helps to do it, to eat that way, to keep your emotions balanced. And then my last tip is just to not overeat. So something that if you're on a more restrictive diet or you're kind of working on cutting your carbs, sometimes we get in a mindset where we think, well, everything I'm eating is really healthy, so I'm going to just eat as much as I want. And even if it's low carb, keto, healthy fats, healthy proteins, good carbohydrates, if you overeat, you're going to cause a malfunction in your brain insulin signaling, which is going to do some damage as well. So you just want to make sure that you're not overeating, because that's going to spike your blood sugar too, even if it's not carbohydrates. Eat your carbs with protein and fat. Walk after your meal. You can even walk before your meal if you're going to do something really naughty. Mind the order in which you eat your foods. Non-starchy vegetables first,